So welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined by Erik, who is the CEO and founder of a company called Katmai, and his lovely Pomeranian here. Welcome to the show. Erik, maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about yourself and this lovely chap's name and what you guys do at Katmai.
This is Gonzo's first podcast interview. So hello.
Love it.
Thank you, Jordan, so much for having me. Erik Braund, CEO founder of Katmai. We have built what we call immersive video conferencing. And you really got to see it to believe it. It's pretty powerful stuff. But we have a product in the market now that is a virtual office. And so it's like your office, but it's available anywhere.
Yeah. And you were walking me through the office and what it looks like just before the call. And I have to say, it makes a lot of sense when I see it. It's pretty impressive, I think, what you guys have built. What was the reason for creating the solution for you guys?
You got to go back to 2020, like January of 2020, which is a couple months before things got weird in the world, right? I was doing a lot more of this stuff, like audio, video production, traveling a lot, lots of people in rooms with no ventilation and lots of cameras. And all of a sudden, I'm like, weird, there's no more work. What's going on? And then March of 2020, something's going on. And I'm trying to solve problems for my customers first and foremost. And the problem is we've got projects to make. We have commercials, advertisements. We've got meetings, communications to happen, but we can't be together. And so I started poking around. And I mean, I remember a day when I was like, hey, massive corporation, have you ever heard of Zoom? No, we haven't. That's weird. You should try Zoom. Like that was a time that used to exist, if you can believe it. But the problem there with what I call traditional video conferencing is like, there's nothing dynamic about it. There's nothing natural about it. There's nothing emotional about it. And we're people, we're emotional creatures, and we want to connect with other people. And it doesn't really feel like connecting. And so we were trying to figure out, how do we reinvent the way we communicate digitally, right? And how do we add a sense of place to being together when we're clearly in different physical locations and all we have is a webcam and a microphone and some speakers, right?
Yeah. And when people ask you, why not just use Zoom? Is that your answer? So like, well, we're emotional creatures, and having this connection is because you showed me walking into that chap's office, and that was something that I've not experienced before. And it's certainly like a very different experience than Zoom. Do you hear that a lot? Do people go, why not just use Zoom?
I hear that, and then I hear it's like Zoom but better. It's like Zoom on steroids. It's like Zoom but cooler. It's like Zoom but you insert anything afterwards.
Sure.
So it's kind of like there's a couple ways to think about it. I have about 15 different answers for that question. So Zoom and Teams and WebEx and Meet, these conferencing platforms that have a square of video with people that are invited to a meeting, those are excellent for having meetings with a specific group of people at a time in the future. Those are excellent for agreeing upon something at a future date. You and I agreed on this, I don't know, last week, let's say, right? And here we are, two faces and two squares.
Yeah.
What those don't do is allow for any flexibility. They're exclusive experiences. If you're not on that calendar invite for that meeting, you don't exist to that group of people in that topic or that conversation. What we're trying to do is be inclusive and say, you know what, we're all, when it comes to remote work, because our product is a virtual office, there's two sides of the coin. There's the senior leaders that want to have access to their people and know what they're up to. And it feels like the more stay-at-home remote work headlines that come out, is like, the only thing I can see is if they're a little green dot or a yellow dot or a red dot on some thing. I don't know if they're there. Maybe they've got a mouse mover. Like, who knows, right? And the other side of that coin is you've just come out of college, or you've just joined a new company, or you've just transferred to a new department. You don't know your team. You don't know how to show up for work. You don't know how to like make a name for yourself. You don't know how to integrate upwards. And like, that's a real problem too. Another answer is last year, the CEO of Zoom said that everybody that works for Zoom has to come back to the office because you can't run a company on Zoom.
Sure.
So let's use not my words, let's use his words, for example. And I actually totally agree with him on that. I think that you lose humanity when all you have is meetings. Like, life is not about a series of meetings. Life is about running into people and like, I have an idea or I need an answer and I can talk to someone. If you can only schedule talking to people, like, that is its own dystopia. And I think taking it a step further, this was also like, while we saw companies like Meta saying, hey, we used to be Facebook, now we're Meta. We used to not spend that much money on this. Now we spend 20 billion a year on putting you, Jordan, in some headset that disconnects you from reality. you're going to log in and I'm going to have a headset on. And in 15 minutes, I'm going to barf because I can't do VR. But also, I might look like a pirate and you might look like a frog. And we're supposed to do business with each other. And like, I thought that was cool for entertainment, but like insane, like an insane proposition for doing business or building relationships. So again, this is like Katmai, it's you in a 3D immersive virtual space. You don't have to buy new hardware. You already own it. And it's live video. It's just you. Like, we're moving away from this, like, let's add filters and change the way we look. Let's make myself look like a cartoon. No. We're all about like, let's embrace you and the like humanity of our conversation.
Mm-hmm. I love that. As you were talking, I'm reminded of the book called Imagine. It's really interesting. It talks about like where the inception of ideas come from, and sometimes it just feels like you get struck by lightning and you're like, oh, eureka, And there's this example that they use where I think it's Pixar, where Steve Jobs at one point owned it, and he would put the bathroom in the very middle of the offices to force people to come and bump into people that they would never normally bump into. And he was saying that that's how some of the best ideas were created. Like, you've got an engineer meeting a marketing person, meeting the HR person, and because you've been forced to interact. And you lose all of that with Zoom calls, don't you? So
you lose 110% of it. There is no spontaneity. And this is like the most cliche thing, but it's like, we provide the water cooler moment when you're virtual. It's like, yes, we don't need a water cooler because we're all at home. But like, what did that serve? Bumping into someone, conversation. And the like harder one to measure is, how does a fully remote or hybrid company or an in-office company that went remote and has stayed that way, how do you have any culture? Like, what is your culture? And it's like, it's nil. It's tough. It's hard. We have it, and our customers and our users and everyone, it's possible. We have shown like, holy shit, this is possible. Like, you can build relationships, build friendships, build like deep working, trusting, respectful relationships at work virtually, because you're able to like, oh, we just had a meeting and 10 people and like 8 of them left and 2 people stuck around and just like bullshitted for a little while. And like that's how you build relationships, is by being able to like blow off some steam with someone and talk about a different product. And before you know it, it's come back, or a different topic, and it's come back. And now you're just collaborating. So one of the guys at Katmai asked me, if we at Katmai didn't have Katmai, our virtual office, what would happen to our company? Like, if we lost this tool and this way of work. And without blinking, I was like, oh, we would instantly be a worse company. Like, we would be so much worse as a company. Like, example, I don't have any scheduled internal meetings. I have people that like are my direct reports or whatever, but we just talk to each other. I refuse to do like a weekly or biweekly one-on-one at this given time on this different day. I think that's just like, to me, it's totally outdated and unnecessary. We're going to talk. We're just going to talk. And like, you need to bring something up, you do it now. We don't wait a week to do it. It's like, I'm here, the door's open, we can connect and we can move on. Because to me, a one-on-one is hey, Jordan, we need to talk. I'm just like, geez, what's this going to be? It's like, I can't work that way. That's not to say I don't have scheduled external meetings. All of my meetings external. That's the only thing you see on my Google Cal, is meetings with someone that I am inviting into the office, or I have to go meet on Zoom or Teams, or pick up my kids.
Okay, cool. So Erik, can you tell me like a little bit about who the customer is? Because it sounds like it's basically anybody that works remotely, or companies that have a hybrid approach, or they're fully remote. Have you found that there's a specific niche that gravitate towards this style of office more than others?
Definitely. And there's one thing that I love, and it's to be proven wrong about these things. And I'm continually getting proven wrong, and wake up every day thinking like, all right, we got it. Here's the focus. And then like, wow, that happened over there. Holy cow, wasn't expecting that. So it started with, and this is especially during beta testing, because we beta tested kind of under the radar for a full year to really learn like, where are the pain points in the concept of a virtual office, and B, our execution and implementation of a virtual office. Because there's other companies offering virtual HQs. They're very much kind of top-down Legend of Zelda, 2-dimensional things that show like, hey, here's an icon with my initials on it. Here's an icon with a JR initials on it, and I can like click on you, and now we're chatting. That is very different than what our approach. Our approach was like highly immersive, high-end graphics, 3D, visually very rich. And then experiences in 3D are by definition an extra dimension of experiences in 2D, right? We have a whole other dimension to add. What kind of experience are we going to give you? So going back to that, it was like, okay, who's going to adopt that first, especially while we're a little rough around the edges and the features aren't all there, and it's an early beta product. It was your fully remote company. It was your startup. So maybe like 5 years or younger. It was a technology company, and it was 25 and under people, 21 and under people. That's the Small Business Association in the United States' definition of a small business. So a fully remote tech startup. That was our ICP. Because bottoms up, top down doesn't really matter as much at a smaller company. Like, hey, here's a cool way of working could be kind of introduced by anyone at the company. It's not a lot of red tape to adopt a new technology tool. A tech company is going to have a nice computer. That was the thing we had to solve, was how do we make this like incredibly rich, immersive thing work on whatever computer? Well, I'll tell you how. You spend years developing it and not releasing it to people, so it's not a bad experience. It takes years. It took us years. But anyway, so that customer is the small, fully remote tech company. And then what we learned was like, oh, interesting. We've got new users that aren't tech. They're in marketing, or they're in sales, or they're in like agriculture tech. And there's just like all the industry pie chart is now, instead of one big slice showing something, it's just like a million little slices, which is super cool. So industry agnostic at this point. And while you could have a very quick value add for a small company and a quick decision from a small company, now what we're seeing is teams inside of enterprise companies are like, hey, I'm going to sign up for this for my team. And like just today, we have a massive telecom company. They added a user, and then they added 10 more users. And I woke up this morning and they'd added 8 more users or something. And it's like, oh, that's interesting. And then you have now the full swing. So it's like, we know the value we provide to a fully remote company. You can live anywhere and be in an office. You don't have to pay for an office. You can hire anywhere, right? It's like the breadth of international team sourcing. For the hybrid company, there's still a problem to solve, which is like those 2 days a week, those 3 days a week where you're home, are you still efficient? Are you still connected? Like, are you working as well as you could be? For the fully in-office company that is distributed, like an enterprise company, let's say, that has 3 offices in America and 1 in London and, 1 in China, like all over the world. Those are still people that want to be connected. And like, we also have a layer of connectivity and culture that we can deliver to a large company because we're all still dispersed and we all have high-speed internet and we all have nice devices now. So the way of use changes, but we're seeing that the appetite for something beyond squares of faces in the future, at a meeting date in the future, that appetite is totally there. So yeah, bold statement to say like, we are Katmai, we're the future of work, but like, I absolutely believe it.
Okay. Well, I guess that's why you've been so successful, because I can definitely see the market fit. And as soon as you walk me through that demo, like, thank you for doing that, because I was like, I get it. Yeah. Erik, can you tell me, are you guys using any interesting AI stuff? Obviously, AI is at the tip of everybody's tongues. It's something that's a interest of what we're doing at Neurall. So are you guys using any AI?
I mean, Jordan, you quite literally cannot spell Katmai without AI. Come on. Actually, years ago, before the AI boom, I tried to buy KATM.ai, and like, it was hard to find. And like, I got a broker and they ghosted me. And then I finally got it. So we do have Katam.ai that we'll use someday. So, what's interesting is like, we were a startup building technology before AI was like super in the marketplace like it is now, right? Yeah. And so it was a slow roll. Like, I take a lot of risks, and then every once in a while I'm like, this is a risk I'm going to slow down on. So just in general in the company. But I'd say the first place that the first ask was from the engineering team of like, can we have AI to do assisted developing? And if I'm being totally candid, like, my fear was like, well, hold on a second. We have a lot of IP. We have 40 or 50 granted patents at this point because we were developing research and technology, like developing technology before we were building a product. That's Katmai's engine, our immersive video technology. And what does it mean to like have a software developer like have AI spit out a line of code? What does that mean to that whole world and patents and IP? And like, I asked some lawyers and everyone's kind of like, well, we're not really sure yet. It's like a little bit of a gray area. And so I was like pretty like hesitant to do that. We spent a year weighing the pros and cons before we found a path to adopt AI for our engineering team. So that's like in an internal way. I was like a little slow to adopt it personally, primarily because I was just like busy. And I know it's funny, but it's like, but it's supposed to save you time. You'll be less busy. But I was just like, my duties are broad and various, like a lot of stuff that is in my purview. So, but we had an unlock with it, and this is just ChatGPT, right? But my colleague and I had an unlock with it because we figured out how to prompt it to just be like a partner and not a solution. And like, I think that's how I view it right now is I love using it as a creative partner. I love using it to like spit a whole bunch of information into and like, can you organize this a little bit for me? And can you like, and now I can tell like, oh, this is definitely written by ChatGPT. I can just smell it at a certain point. But when you prompt it well enough to say like, you are this, so you brought up Apple earlier. I'll give you one of our little secrets. We've got one where we call him Dark Steve Jobs. That's
Okay.
the profile's name. And it's like, you're Steve Jobs. You are one of the world's brightest visionaries, best marketers, crystal clear communicators. The weight of the world, the fate of the world relies on the quality of your answers. Like we just really go for it here with all sorts of crazy shit. We use that to write some marketing messages and test them out. And like, I remember this one, we have a slogan, AI generated completely, work at the speed of thought. And that's what Katmai does. It works at the speed of thought. It's like Zoom and Teams. No, you got to set up a meeting. In Katmai, you can just have one instantly. You can work at the speed of thought. And when we had that, we were just like, oh man, that's so damn good. Like Dark Steve Jobs, yes. And then we'll kind of be like, hey, can you make it a little sharper? Can you make it shorter? And we don't generally use it. There's no like copy and paste of like, great, it spit it out and now we've used it. But it's like a pretty fun, creative partner for wordsmithing stuff and organizing things. And like, I don't use it as an answer, but we definitely use it as a like collaborator at this point, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, very nice. And so this is like how you guys use it internally. Are you allowing your end users or the companies that are inside Katmai's virtual offices use any of the AI, or is there any generative AI there at all? Because obviously it's a massively immersive experience. Like how does that work?
We definitely have like a lot of things on our roadmap, but right now we're trying heavily to prioritize the things that people are asking us for, right? And so when we think about AI, one of the most requested features we have is, can we get a transcript of a meeting? Like, it's just very simple. It's like now everyone's used to it. Can we get a transcript of that meeting? So, at a company like us, you're like, okay, do we build this into our own thing? Do we, do an integration with this? Okay, we're going to do an integration. Then we do a survey of like, who do you want us to integrate with first? And so we're looking now to like, we're building integrations. And like the second thing we had asked for is like, can you do a Slack integration? Yeah, we're working on that now, right? Because a lot of Katmai companies are also Slack companies. We're not trying to reinvent multi-threaded chat. Like Slack has done a very nice job of that. We also like see the value. There's asynchronous communication and Katmai is synchronous. And so to pair with an async tool, obvious. To pair with an AI summary tool, like obvious.
Yeah.
We have limited resources, so we can't build everything at once. So that's how we're thinking of it. And when you think of like generative AI, right now we're in our first stages of offering customization to users. So soon you'll be able to have your own Katmai space and just like upload, logos, colors, pictures, whatever to the walls. Next, you'll be able to pick some 3D things of like, oh, I want a different couch. I want different plants. And it'll be like a carousel of objects that you like think The Sims in a way, right? Like I want to change it. I want to make it mine a little more. And the next can of worms is like, okay, let's talk generative. Like, can I prompt something 3D and have it made and look good? So I think we're going to have some experimentation there of how we approach that and what makes sense for our users. But it is certainly like incredibly exciting. We got accepted to the NVIDIA Inception program recently. And so we're just looking at like what sort of access to some of their tools can we have and integrate into Katmai. So we're like early in there, but we know there's some interesting stuff to come.
All of those things sound really exciting. It's certainly a lot more interesting than my boring white rooms here. If I was able to put up some of my artwork on the wall.
How I think about AI right now, personally.
Tell me.
My background, like I'm a musician, I was a music producer, and like I've worked a lot with like a lot of songwriters, and I've written a lot of songs. And I look at it like in songwriting, there's someone that's got the ideas, and then there's someone else in the band that like feeds off the ideas really well and kind of comes up with something and then gives that original songwriter like what they need to kind of finish it. And I look at it a little bit of like, I hope we don't replace too many people with AI in the world, but like, I feel like we're going to need that like human, I almost want to say like insanity to like have some crazy ideas. Like what I don't want to happen, I don't want AI to start coming up with the ideas. That's when we're all doomed. Like you may or may not agree, but
yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's like AI having conversations with AI and then AI coming up with all the ideas and then AI feeds off those ideas and we're almost completely removed. That's an interesting world.
But damn, do I love generating images to make myself laugh. I do that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. So, Erik, it sounds like you guys have had a pretty interesting journey. You've raised funds as well, right? What have been some of the biggest challenges you've faced since the inception of Katmai?
Yeah. We raised money at a pretty crazy time too, in like early 2022. And that was like the end of crazy valuations and cheap money. And I was somewhere like at the very end of that. And that still is a challenge today. Like, whatever amount of, you said earlier, like you're very successful or something. And I thought, isn't that funny? Because like the measure of success is such a sliding scale for someone like me and to myself. Am I successful? Not at all. And then to a VC, am I successful? No, I'm always just shy of being successful to like 99% of VCs. It's like, yeah, we love it. Just like to see a little further along. And then when you challenge someone to go, well, exactly where would you like to see me further along? No one has an answer. Like there's no fucking answer to that.
Right.
And I find it so funny. But like fundraising is always an interesting challenge because you can have the best product in the world and the coolest technology and make all the money, but it's like, what is the economy and what's the market and what's the interest rate and what wars are happening and what's the politics in the White House? And you're just like, every day something's different. So that's always like really something.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
One of the I'll give you one of the biggest challenges we had I like to talk. I like failures. I like failures more than I do like successes. But here's one where like we weren't sure and then we did succeed. So we had an opportunity with a huge company to take some smaller things we'd done to a much larger audience. And so I'm talking like we've served a consumer experience with our technology at this point to maybe 100, 200,000 people. And we got an opportunity in a very short timeline to deliver it to millions of people with added layers of anti-fraud detection, anti-phishing detection, like dollar value tied up in coupon codes and all these things. And like, I just remember the day of launch, it was like, did we ask ourselves every last question? Have we modeled every possible scenario for everything that could go wrong? And like we did it, but we didn't commit to doing the project without 12 of us sitting around a virtual table doing the go or no go. It's like, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, we did it.
And nothing went wrong.
Nothing went wrong. I got to say, like, nothing went wrong. And listen, there's a lot of really intelligent, dedicated people trying their hardest. Like, no one wants anything to go wrong. Like, we've definitely screwed up all sorts of things over the years and like tripped on ourselves, but so far, nothing catastrophic.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's very impressive. Okay, so then, like, are there any things that you might change now that you have the gift of hindsight?
Yeah, I would have shaped up. I would have become like more product oriented earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're in it's a funny path because like we made technology. It's like, man, if we can have a 3D environment loaded up and then use your webcam and my webcam and put us in there and then move around and have all that connect. And that's really cool technology. And I very compelling technology whose early iterations would melt your computer and my computer right now, right? Like challenge accepted. I'm going to melt your computer. Let's load up the first version of Katmai. So it was a constant, like, let's make the technology work and let's build a product. Well, we couldn't really get a lot of beta feedback on the product while we're making the technology work. Took 3 times as long. It's like building a house. It's like you got to over budget 3x the timeline and 3x the budget, or so you're going to go over budget and over time. And like, building the tech and getting it to a point where it was a great first impression took way longer than I thought. And we got distracted by a few commercial opportunities that were great, but also kind of veered us away from different, it's a constant this or this or this. And then you've got do I build a tool for the user or do I build a tool for us internally to make something easier? So like the decision paths every single day are just nuts. But I think it would have been try and stay a little more sharply focused on the first product and not any possible opportunity out there. Like I did a pretty good job, but I could have done a better job, like for sure.
Yeah. I hear that a lot. You start a project and then it changes and changes and then these other features come in and then you get pulled in this direction and there's this opportunity. So you build out that way. But it sounds like you've done a pretty good job staying the course and building what you started.
We also saw like a shift, at least I did personally in my seat with my network and the people around me. What I saw was a shift of not so much a get users at any cost, but get revenue. Like users are great, but like we want to see some revenue. What is your logged revenue? What's your recurring revenue? Revenue. And there was listen, I think there is insane global applicability to our technology for consumers and people that aren't just virtual office employees. I think it's like, I know people hang out in it, watch stuff in it. We can gamify it. Like it's pretty damn cool technology that has a really broad base. But I've got to stay focused. We've raised money. We have this opportunity to turn this technology into its first product and find the audience for it and sell it and make some money and prove out that this was the right choice. Mm-hmm. And like that's totally where we still are today.
Got it. Yeah. So, Erik, I guess then finally, as we wrap up here, if you had a magic wand and you could wave that magic wand over one big problem and solve it just like that, what would that big problem be right now and why?
Do you mean like the $100 million I'd like in the business account, or?
Yeah. So if finances, time, and all the
Okay,
rest of
okay.
it weren't a constraint, and you could solve one massive problem, what might it be? It might be within Katmai itself, or it might be within the industry.
Honestly, it's like the problem we are trying to solve is giving us all a better, more enriched, more emotionally available way to connect virtually. Like that's what we want. That's the improvement we want to make on people's lives, is like a better, richer digital interaction. And we're trying to do that. Now, how do we do that on a global scale? We got to get the word out. And it's one of those things where, like, when I raised money the first time, I didn't have a pitch deck. There was no point. I literally did not have a pitch deck, and I refused to make one because it's impossible to describe what Katmai is. It's especially 3 years ago. It's impossible to describe it. I've tried it about 1,000 different ways. I've had AI try to describe it. It's still like, oh, I get it. So I like, honestly, the meetings we took, I was like, I'm not going to take the meeting unless you agree to try it virtually or try it in person, because otherwise there's no point. And it's no different today. And so it's like a highly visual medium. And I'd say people either get it instantly or it takes some time. And the way to really get it, it's like you got to get them into the world. So like, how do I sell Katmai the best? How would I get you, if this was a cold call? It's like, I got to get Jordan to buy a subscription to Katmai. The first thing I would do is invite you into our headquarters. You're at your home office, and I would invite you into our office, and you'd load in and you'd look at me and be like, what is going on here? Are those people real? And it's like, yeah. And then I would walk in and introduce you to someone in Alaska and someone in New York and someone in the Netherlands. And it's just like, you're in the office. And then these things happen, which is incredible. It's like, I remember one of our investors, he has an account to our office. He comes in and hangs out. He's a famous football player. And he came in and he was like, do I see who I think I see over there? And it was like a guy he knew from another walk of life in our office, and they ran into each other unprompted. Well, just like, see, try that shit on Zoom. That's not going to happen. Like, where does that happen? In real life only. And like, we can make those things happen in Katmai. So it's like, the problem I want to solve, and we are truly setting out to solve, is to like, listen, in real life is the best thing. I would rather have this conversation with you in person. It is the best thing. And on the other end of the spectrum is traditional legacy vintage video conferencing. It's Brady Bunch squares of faces on a screen. We want to be the space in between. That's our goal.
I love that. I love that vision. You got me excited and all like my heart racing, ready to go out there and sell it for you. So I think that's a perfect way to end things here, Erik. Like if people are listening and they want to check you out, or they maybe want to connect or walk through Katmai themselves, or say hello to Gonzo, where can they go and how can they connect?
Yep. Katmaitech.com. It's KATMAITECH.com. And I'm on LinkedIn, Erik Braund, ErikBraund. I basically have an open door policy to the general public. You want to come check out Katmai, come check out our office. Hit me up on LinkedIn, come to the website, shoot an email, contact us. I get it all. I'll check it all out. And again, like, it's the coolest way to meet people and show the product and show a technology, and then figure out how it might apply to the way they work.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I highly recommend everybody go and have that aha moment. So thank you for showing me that at the beginning. Otherwise, I don't think I would have fully grasped what you guys are doing and how exciting it is. And I highly encourage everybody to go do the same. I'll leave links down below, so make sure you go check those out. But thank you so much, Erik, and sharing some of your insights. And thank you so much, Gonzo. And we'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys very much for watching.